Hi, dear astrologer from BellaDuveraOfficial.wordpress.com, and I just wanted to add to my Jupiter video for Harry Styles astrology birth chart reading. So to figure out your beliefs, but to figure out any belief of anyone's, or I mean, not that you need to figure out other people's, but to go about figuring out any belief of anyone's or whatever, you need to figure out to get to the root of it. You can't stop, up here, above the root. Like I said in the other video, my Mercury, I just wanted to let you know in the other video, I didn't like the video as much because I my Mercury that's communicating my thought process, it's Capricorn, and it just it doesn't have a bunch of words, or I don't, unless I sometimes take notes or prepare really well of what I wanted to say. And I hadn't done that very well as much as I wanted to, but I honestly, obviously know what I'm talking about. But because this is in all of us, Jupiter, beliefs, we all know, like, truly, it's in all of us to be able to figure out how to do this. But I was getting confused of, I was trying to think and then talk at the same time, and I was getting confused. So it looked a little bit dumb, but anyway, I'm not helping explaining this, but I wanted to anyway, just because I obviously know what I'm talking about, but that's just the way my Mercury zodiac sign is. It it doesn't mean that I don't know what I'm talking about or something, because I wanted you to know that, because what I'm saying is reliable, and coming from me, it is reliable because it is. I mean, but it to me, I didn't like the video as well as I could have, because my Mercury, that irritates me about my Mercury. But anyway, enough about that. But to get to the root of something, you need to, like I said in the other video, you need to not stop at the surface, above the root. You need to get to the root, and to do that, I just had written down a couple notes here. I think you can see that now. To get to the root and not make excuses, and not, whenever we're trying to get to a root belief of something, there can be fear attached to it. So you need to, not do that. You need to not make excuses about the whatever it is that you're trying to figure out. And everyone does that sometimes. Um, but a very simple way to know what the root is, or whether you're making excuses, is certain words, on here, of, your thought process, like, if you're making excuses, you're saying your belief is you should or shouldn't whatever, or someone else should or shouldn't whatever. That's an excuse. That's not a core belief. It's not a root belief. A root belief is something absolute, like something is, or you have something, or you will be a certain way, or something is going to be a certain way. Not something should or shouldn't, or might, or, you see what I'm saying? It's very simple to understand. But so many people stop way up here when they're trying to get to the root beliefs of something, or when they're not, even when they want to avoid the root belief of something because of fear. Fear is always attached to it. If you're not getting to the root of it, if you're not getting to the root of it, you can be sure that fear is attached to it. And it's very simple thought process with these words. And if you think about whether fear is attached to it or not and why. So, like I was saying in my other video, you can't, whenever you say, like I use the example of a pen mark on my face. Not that I give a crap if there's a pen mark on my face, but if that was a fear that I have, or a root belief that I have, would be, oh, I must get that off my face right now, or I will be alone because people won't like me. The root is that I will be alone. The root is not that people won't like me, it's that I would be alone. You see what I'm saying? It's not that people should or shouldn't like me, or should or shouldn't think something, or might, or that they do. That's not a root. The root is that something will be a certain way. You see what I'm saying? Or aren't good enough for this birth chart reading. You have to get to the root of it. Not stop up here and say I should or shouldn't have it. Not the root belief is not that someone else thinks that. It's not that I think that. you know you, Harry, if you're thinking this about this birth chart reading from me, it's not that, you know the root needs to be am, will, have, don't have, all those kind of things. Not don't stop up here and say, well, someone else thinks something of me and I think something, and you know whatever, like that I should or shouldn't or can't, or whatever. That's not the root. Those kinds of words aren't. It's the root is that, for one I mean, there can be several roots to things, but if you don't deserve the birth chart reading, you know, you have to figure out, like, that could be a belief of yours, but you have to figure out, like I was saying in the other video. I hadn't explained these words at all in the other video, but you have to find the evidence, like I said in the other video, of why or why not, f- replace the fear evidence with the good evidence, like I said. Here, like I said, you have to get to the root of it and say, I do deserve this birth chart, and then find the evidence of it. There's so much evidence. I've made it clear that I like you as a person, or whatever, and that's the evidence. I mean, for one thing, it and like I said, this is the way for everyone to do this, though. Jupiter, believes. It's not like a suggestion. It's just for anyone to do this. It's the root belief. There are certain words you say and don't say to get to the root. It's just as simple as that. You do deserve the birth chart reading because, there can be tons of reasons. I'm just trying to give you examples of root beliefs and not root beliefs. Like I said, why would it be so bad, or whatever. um if your belief, trying to get to the root of it, you have to keep going. If you can still answer that question, like, what how does it make you feel, or what does it mean, or why is that bad, or why is it scary, or if you can still answer that, keep going and answer it. You're not to the root yet. When you get to the root and can't answer that anymore and go farther than that, then you're at the root. You know, like I said, an example is, I will be alone or I won't be alone. And like I said, it's usually with fear, like a lot of beliefs are. The good, happy beliefs, and your beliefs can always change too, like I said. Excuse me, but y- I don't know what I was saying. Fear is always attached to it. Usually, like the good beliefs, we don't have to think about that so much. If there is a good, happy, whatever belief you have, and it's a root belief, that's a lot of times, like it's not some big part of, like, it's not something going on and with us, like an ongoing subject, like we just have these certain beliefs. But the beliefs that are attached with fear, those are the ones that you really need to pay attention to make sure you're having good beliefs about such things, without fear. Um, and your beliefs, uh, if you believe something about you, uh, if you don't like something or do like something, whatever. I mean, if you don't like something is a good way to look at it. What happens to me sometimes naturally, and you can do this on purpose too. If you say, I don't like that about me, but you can like something about someone else that you have in common with, then you can figure out how to like it about yourself too, Um, but anyway, so uh I wish I could think of tons of examples of, uh these words and stuff to show you what I mean more, but you can't, you have to make sure you're not staying up here on the top of the surface, and like I said, your Jupiter being in Scorpio, it's already a deep zodiac sign. Scorpio stays at to the root of things in the first place. So your root belief of something, if you decide to make it a process, like a routine that you do. um like I was saying, you can't stop up there at the not root beliefs and stuff and then have excuses for things, and that's just always going to keep you up there, making excuses about everything and everyone and all of your relationships, and finding the bad evidence of why you don't deserve something, or why you're not good enough, or why, or whatever. You need to fill the evidence, with good evidence of why you do deserve something, or why you are good enough, or why you're not gonna be alone, or why you're, whatever word like that, uh, I can't think of all the words that are, but uh, like being alone is a good example, because it's such a common thing for people to feel, or a big fear for people to have, but it's not the only core belief or root belief you can have. But um, like I was saying, you need to find the evidence of why you're not gonna be alone if whatever it is, you um like I was saying, you have to keep answering those questions. If you can keep answering them, like I said, you're not to the root yet, but you need to do that so you can get to the root and not be able to answer them anymore. Why is that so bad if that happened, right? I mean, that's an obvious thing. If you are feeling that way, that you will be alone, you really need to figure out why you wouldn't be. It's m- sometimes it can happen, but some people aren't gonna leave you. It's just you know, like a surface fear we all have. It's very, very common belief for all of us to have because of whatever, not root things going on in our lives. But like, if you say, I need to get the pen mark off my face or I'll be alone or whatever. I mean, try it out and let the pen mark be on your face and see if it happens. It's probably not going to happen. Like me, for instance, I'm going to keep doing birth chart readings for you because I love doing that for you, whatever. There's all sorts of things you could say about it. But, like, don't be afraid to let someone see who you really are. Like leave the pen mark on your face and see what happens. You know, I'm still gonna do the birth chart readings for you or whatever. Or, whoever else is gonna still be friends with you or, whatever, things like that. So, like I was saying, you need to find the good evidence and then, try it out, once, leave the pen mark on your face and see what happens. Don't like let that fear control you so much that you have to have this perfect, face for the public because no one needs to. Like it's not necessary. We're all allowed to be ourselves in front of people. Not be afraid of whatever it is happening. it, Life really, we all make more fear than what is necessary. It's more fear than what is reality. um so anyway, um like I was saying, like if you're if your shirt's messy, or if you have the pen mark on your face, or if whatever, something happens at your shows, your music shows, that's not a root belief. Like if you say, someone's gonna say something funny, that's not a root belief. You have to say, why is that so bad? Or, all the other things I said, keep going until you get to the root of it. The root is that you will be or you will have something a certain way. Something will definitely happen a certain way. That's the root of something, not that you can't like say a root or a surface level things, and then you can't, once you get closer to the root, like I said, you can't make the excuse and then tell the person what they should or shouldn't be doing. What they should or shouldn't be doing is not the root of it. What they can't do or they can, or what they're allowed, or what you know I mean, no one should be saying that to you. If anyone's saying that to you, that's not a root belief. Like their own root beliefs and yours, you have to keep that separate. you know and this is good practice too for that. Like whenever someone else is saying that you should or shouldn't do something a certain way, or you have to really, a lot of times you're probably saying it back to them too. And there's always a root of it, whether it's a belief or a feeling or whatever, you have to keep answering those questions and get to the root of it, like with the am, have, will, don't have, all those things. That's the root. And like I was saying, keep in mind that it's probably a two-way street with what you're saying to each other, like if someone else is saying you should or shouldn't do this, you're probably saying it to them too if you have any kind of a connection with them, at all. So you have to get to the root of those things too, not just have it be, like a one-way street, like, oh, they're just saying that to me, because you have feelings towards other people too, like, good feelings, like, and like I was saying, on social media, jealousy, that's a good indication of what you want. I'm not saying any of these things in a negative way. I'm saying it in a good way. Like, it's always a two-way street whenever you have a connection with people and you, you know, you're saying these things back and forth that aren't the root things. Y- It's either a root belief or feeling or whatever else. You have to get to the root of it though. And like I was saying, jealousy is a good indication of what you actually want, what you want to keep, you know. So you have to figure out, what it is you want, and let yourself have those feelings, and um get to the root of it and figure out like what you want or what you believe or about whatever it is the subject is about and um like there's always a root to tons of stuff and you have to keep getting to the root of it, not stay on the surface level and you know um like I was saying, answer these questions. If it's one of these kinds of things, like, that's the root. That's, like, the surface level things, Don't say you shouldn't feel a certain way because that's not true. You're allowed to feel and think and whatever else, whatever it is that you're thinking at the moment, jealousy and whatever else, anything and everything, like, good and bad and whatever else people say things are good and bad, those kinds of words. Um, if it's that if you are thinking, "Oh, I can't be jealous because then I'll be alone." Alone is the root of it, that you're jealous, like, we all have that kind of emotion or whatever feeling sometimes, You have to get to the root of, like I was saying, what would happen if you feel a certain way, but you have to figure out if you truly would be, like, alone is a core belief or root belief, and just to add to this, like I was saying, you have to figure out like the evidence of why you'd be alone if you feel that way. Obviously, we all feel that way. If we can all accept that each other feels that way, that we all feel that way, you're probably not going to be alone if you feel that way. If you admit that to someone, and like I was saying, it's a good indication of what you actually want. So what you need to be going towards, something in the relationship or the about the person that you like or whatever, um or if you uh if you're think I'm just trying to think of examples of things, if you're gonna be late for a meeting, that's not the core or root belief of something. If if you say, I I'm sometimes I'm good at getting to the root of something to begin with. Going down the whatever, the kind of, the root, or the plant or the whatever, and getting to the root, I can't think of examples of how to do that so much. I could if I had more time, if I tried to, or, made a practice of it, but you have to get to the root, like I was saying, and if you, if you're gonna, miss an important phone call or be late to work or, whatever, like the root is not that the person's going to say something mean. That's not the root. The root is that you might not be friends anymore, or you'll be alone, or that kind of thing. um or a good one is that if you do something for someone that is nice, you're still going to be friends. That can be a root belief. Not that they're gonna say something nice or mean to you. That's not a root belief, you know? Um, or if you, if you have fear about something, like, uh, having fear is not a root belief, it's something we all have. But if you have a fear of something happening, like, that can be a good way to get to the root of something too. Why, if the subject is about a certain thing, a certain way, if you're afraid of something happening, you know, that can be, a good way to get to the root. Answer the question, like, what are you afraid of, Um, if you, like, my north node's in Taurus and your north node's in the Taurus house, which is the same thing, which is financial stability. If you think that some so and so, singer, ha- uh, a friend, a guy or a girl or a romantic person or not, or whoever, they have money so they can't use you. You know, that's a way of thinking. Or if someone else doesn't at the present moment, but they might or they might not use you, and those are ways of thinking. Um, but or if you, I can't think of a good example. What else is trying to think of subjects that come up on social media and in real life, like just everyday kind of things. And if you're thinking, if you if your fear is controlling you so much that you have to, put conditions on people, that's not a healthy way to relate to people, and it's that's like a should or shouldn't kind of a thing. That's not a root thing, So whenever you're thinking that way about conditions and shoulds and shouldn'ts and whatever else is, that's always roots, not roots of things. That's always the surface level kind of thoughts that we have. So that's the kind of things that you need to, you know, go past that deeper and think about what will be, what you will have, what you won't have, what you are, what you aren't. Those are the roots of things. Um, you can do that with every thought you have. I don't want to, like do that for you about everything because you can do that on your own, but whatever kind of everyday kind of things you think, you have to get to the root of it. What's your root belief, and why? You have to say, like, why is it a root belief? Is it a good root belief or is it a unhealthy one? And find the evidence of why it is or isn't true, so you can, have closer relationships with people, not make it depend on, you know, walls and shields and stuff to protect you, you know, like you can have friendships with anyone on this planet, an Aquarius, is really good at thinking that way to begin with. You have 4 planets in Aquarius, and your fortune is in Aquarius too. So in the 11th house or Aquarius, I forget which one. And in Aquarius, I think. So you're really good at thinking, in the first place that you can be friends with all sorts of people, no classes, that doesn't matter, but you need to not put, labels and conditions and shoulds and shouldn'ts on people and yourself, about your relating to each other, and get to the root of it more of what's actually going to happen, a certain way, that's the root belief that you have about stuff. But you have to, like I was saying, your root belief can be changed for the better always for all of us. If you really truly believe a certain way, that you're going to be alone if you're with certain people, find the evidence of why that is or isn't true and be honest with yourself. Like figure out like what the evidence is, what the true evidence is of why you're actually going to be alone or not be alone, not the surface kind of unhealthy, unfriendly towards yourself evidence of why you might be. Find good evidence of why you wouldn't be for yourself, or if you believe something about someone else, like find the good evidence to fill your beliefs with, that find the good evidence of why your root belief, the foundation, can be good, like the person, that person versus this person, being in your life, why they can or can't be, find the evidence of why they both can be maybe, or why one should or shouldn't, or why they both shouldn't, or, all the kinds of ways you can think about people, don't stay on the surface level and say, material kinds of reasons are why you should or shouldn't, like get to the root, evidence of things, and the good evidence of why you can have as many people in your life that you want, and from all sorts of whatevers, countries and backgrounds and classes and whatever, don't, stay on the surface level and like just accept your fears, as being what controls your life, like find the, like I was saying, the good evidence of what is actually going to happen a certain way if you have people in your life, or, if you believe a certain way, Um, anyway, but yeah, so, but that's up to you to do. I won't go all through all the examples of all these things, for you because you can do that on your own. But that's basically how to do that, Um, but I wanted to make another video for you about Pluto more, that goes along with this, Jupiter beliefs. So I'll be making that next and putting that on my YouTube channel too. So, um, Anyway, sorry for the rambling on in the beginning of the video, but I just wanted to explain why I'm keeping the other video, because there is some, most of it's very good. Most of it's not me rambling on in the other video either, but I didn't like it quite as much as I could, just because, what I already said. Anyway, so if anyone likes this video or whatever, has questions, comments, feel free to leave that on YouTube or wherever, So if you watch this video, thanks for watching, and I'll be making a lot more videos for you.